Chiefs gave you a scare, but they got it done. There's a lot to take away from this one. In the end, that much closer to a 7th straight AFC West title. And hey, you got to take what you can from it, move forward, and get better. That's what this is going to be about. We're breaking it all down. Our notes, our takeaways, your questions as well. Welcome to RGR Football. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is my channel. This is my right hand, Dan. Check him out. Are you in a good mood, Dan, or are you still consumed? That's the question.
Oh, I'm not in a good mood, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what I think. The fact of the matter is that they are 10-3 and have an opportunity tonight with a Miami Dolphins win to clinch the division for the 7th straight year. That's what really matters in the grand scheme. Yeah, I almost swore. We're gonna complain and moan about how this was a game that the Chiefs never should have had this situation happen, and I'm gonna probably have to make another rant this week because I don't think I can just keep all of it bottled up for very long. Something's got to happen here, but yeah, it's a win. It's a win. It's a win.
Folks, you might get 2 rants this week. You never know.
We also have
talk to me,
beer. This is a rum barrel-aged spice cake brown ale.
Oh, well done, Boulevard.
Yes.
I literally just had their Flux barley wine that I was drinking last night that I've been aging for a year, so that was kind of nice. Let's see. Let's get into it. We're going to go over my big takeaways. We'll get a little heated. Don't worry. We're going to get right into your super chats and your questions tonight, folks. And you guys usually bring up every topic that I'm going to cover, but we're going to do our best to do it. To make sure you get in, put some question marks at your beginning. Make sure that you sub and make sure you hit that thumbs up on this particular video. I'm stacking a few up already. And the big thing for me, thank you, Tracy, for letting everybody know that we're coming. Yep, post game's always a challenge for us. Big takeaways from me. Tale of 2 halves are honestly a quarter and a half and 2.5. But my big note was, yes, Mahomes' magic happened again, and the no-look thing to McKinnon was great, but you can't let it fade on you. There's a lack of self-control there as it got away with the turnovers. And as good as the plus was, the minus was just as good, if not worse. That's my thing. Did it balance out enough for you, Dan? Are you still more concerned than you are happy about some crazy play?
For me, I don't care so much about the crazy play. Yeah, it's great. We expect that kind of stuff out of Mahomes. The problem was that he was expecting, like all linebackers do, to continue to make poor decisions when he's moving them. There's multiple players there's 2 guys he's going to on 3rd downs. Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster. And you want to know who knows that? Linebackers. And 2 really good linebackers, or the good linebackers in Denver. Josie Jewell he does not care. He has been excellent. This game, 2 picks for him. And the problem was that Mahomes is trying to move him with his eyes and go behind him. And he knows that's what he's trying to do. He wants to, everyone kind of understands that the Chiefs want to get into spots in your zone. They want to throw behind linebackers vacating their spots. That's what they want to do. And so Mahomes is trying to lean into that. And he's really good at it. He's really good at moving linebackers. But when you do the same thing over and over with going to Juju and going to Travis Kelce in key situations, they're going to keep picking up on it. And multiple times in this game, I know the Sky Moore one was a little bit different, but multiple times, 2 times that he went at Josie Jewell in particular, he made him pay for it, and he didn't learn from it in the game. I'm sure he will going forward, but those are mental mistakes. And because of consistent problems that the Chiefs have moving the ball outside of Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster that creep up in games like this, when you're not comfortable throwing other places on 3rd down, it shows and it becomes predictable.
Well, I don't even know if it's a comfort thing for me. I put in my notes, did he just shut it down in terms of doing all his checks? Is he just taking the easy one, the one that he expects to be there? That was my problem because it just felt like they got up 20. I think it got to 27-0 at one point.
27-0, yep.
So at that point, it was like, oh, we're just going to coast. And it infected the defense as well. It was all like shut down, and you just can't do that. Even the Denver Broncos, a team that's in the race to be in the top 3 in the draft.
Yeah.
You cannot let that happen. That is a lack of discipline from Patrick, who threw a number of passes behind his receivers today, from Coach Reed, who might have had the worst short yardage red zone play call sheet in, I don't know, a year, as well as the defense. We're going to talk about all those details. Thank you for being here. like and sub and get with us because we got a lot to talk about. Clinton, thank you for your band Ochre in the Universe. That's a great name. I love that one. And I will go check that one out. Thank you for supporting the channel. We appreciate you very much. And I also want to shout out Aaron Morrow, our fearless moderator, is back. Make sure you check out and say hi to Aaron. He is in the chat as always. And the next super chat, thank you for supporting us, Gold Towel. We appreciate you. One of the biggest concerns remains the same. We can't pick up 3rd or 4th and 1 in the run. Yeah, I think teams know what you're going to do when you bring in, and I even put it on Twitter at the time, give Mike Burton a chance. This has been, I went back. His touches going back 7 weeks have been dives.
Mm-hmm.
Dive, 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 dive. They know it's coming. There's no variation. There's nothing new. And he knows better than this. And it's either I trust Mike to be powerful and try to get it, or I'm just setting everybody up that we're going to have him in the ball game sometime in the future in the playoffs and not do this and have them all key in on it. I don't know.
They did it last week where they brought him in on 3rd down and tried something different, and they got the 1st down. Why do it? Do other things off of that. You can't just do the same thing, because this is kind of what Andy Reid does. We've talked about this, that he doesn't spam it. If it's, he spams things that don't work. He doesn't spam things that work. And that's the thing, is that he continues to go back to the well on this 3rd and 1 dive. I can't get behind it anymore. It needs to be taken out of the playbook. And in terms of running it, you can have the formation. I don't care about the formation.
Sure.
But you have to do something different. It's inexcusable. If you want to run up the middle on 3rd down, get in shotgun, spread everybody out, run the ball there. That's what you want to do. Fine. I don't care. But you can't just line up in 21 personnel or 22 personnel and expect to run the ball with a fullback dive / trap, whatever you want to call it, on these 3rd and 1s and get it, because they haven't been able to do it. So I'm done with it.
Yeah, I hear you. It's difficult. I think it's hard to pin why. That's my big question. If there's a reason before it, fine. It's just the why of it is what's crushing me right now.
Exactly.
So Gold Towel, I hope that helps. I know it's not much of an answer, but
yeah.
Until Andy decides to tell us, we're not going to have one. But thank you, Tim. Maybe use Burton on 3rd, no more than just 3rd and 1. Exactly. I think you're there. And I felt like Pacheco continued his streak of really good play. Was he a game changer tonight? No. But he kept the ball moving. He did his job. He showed some will there at the end to get that last 1st down. And that's what I've been looking for. So, he's one of the guys that I'm really happy with tonight. Are you?
Yeah, I mean, he was fine. I thought exactly what he did was exactly what you should expect out of him. He's not going to do anything crazy. He moved the chains. I do think his lack of lateral agility is showing up far more than people want to give it credit for, but that's fine. He's doing exactly what he needs to do, churning out tough yards. That game to close it out, that game to close it out was awesome. He ran over one of the best tackling safeties in the NFL, and Justin Simmons, and then fought for the 1st down. That's what you want him to do. That's what he's a very downhill runner, and fine, execute everything. And that's what you should expect out of your 7th round rookie coming. Do what you do best. Live to fight another down. Honestly, I thought Jerick McKinnon has been, over the last month, has been the best he's ever been in Kansas City. And Jerick has been a huge uplift for this offense in the time where they're struggling to find themselves at running back, and they've had a really nice 1-2 punch with the running backs right now. And I think that's what's carrying them in these situations. Jerick has done a great job of building off of what Isaiah Pacheco gives them, and it's really helped the offense.
Agreed. And obviously a huge night for him in the pass game. He also churned out a few carries. He got 6 carries, got his yardage, was able to get a couple of things. Kudos back to the run game in general. Yes, there were times where it was predictable. That last couple of drives, you weren't getting much. It was inside zone, outside zone, inside zone. But the linemen moved enough. And what tells me that, too, is that Pacheco had 5.6 yards a carry in the first half. Yep. He finished the game at 5.4. So we didn't see that normal second half dip off where the running game doesn't work as well. So kudos to them getting it done. I think Trey had one of the best blocks we've seen from him tonight and absolutely destroying Justin Simmons, a Pro Bowler that I think got caught a little bit out of position. But kudos to Trey for being I feel like he's gotten better in space as the season's gone on since he came back from that injury. Clearly, if he's peaking, that's going to help the game overall. And I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. In my notes, the rest of it, as far as the overall play call, I thought it was really passive at times in the red zone in particular. Short yard in particular. It was, what was it? I think it was, well, I'll tell you. It was possession number 9. Where you're in the red zone and you're trying to get the ball out to the wings. You're throwing the ball when you have 3 yards to go, and you just refuse to either run power or run some kind of misdirection. Sky got 2 targets tonight. We didn't see the drags under. We didn't see the jet motion anything. We didn't see anything lateral that was close to the line of scrimmage in the run game that you can actually get something done with. And again, I feel like that's an omission by design. I don't think that was just they forgot. I think they decided not to do that. Can you have any idea why, Dan?
No, I don't. This doesn't outside of the fact that they were up 27-0 and they just gave up. Like the whole team said, we're done trying at one point. That's what it felt like. And I know that they're going to obviously say otherwise, that they were still in that game. Then mentally, I think they all checked out. Mahomes is out here. You know, the first pick, whatever. Again, he tried to make a linebacker move. He made him pay by really not moving and staying there. Second one, he's jumping, trying to make a play to Sky Moore downfield, underthrows it, and then Pat Surtain makes a great play coming underneath to catch that. Like, this team, every week we say the same stuff. They have to clean up their mental issues. That's just who they are. They are a team that plays with mental mistakes every single week, and they expect Patrick Mahomes to bail them out. And when he has a 3-interception game because he's trying to bail them out, look what happens. You almost lose to one of the worst offensive teams in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, their defense is good, but they're not elite defense either any longer. So overall, this was a team you should have spanked pretty handily. That's a problem. And Carl, you're kind of going that direction. And I love how you keep changing your name so I can try to keep up with it, by the way. I like the thumbs down, but I don't know how to say that. So if Spags moves on, 3-4 is most likely the way that they're going to go because Collins in-house and because that's what he chooses to run. I personally feel that most of the D-line are able to make that transition to a 3-4. I love the idea of Chris at a 5-tech and Colin at the other with a big man in the middle. Like, that's intriguing to me.
Yeah.
So I think they can get something done. That is likely the direction they go if Spags. I know everybody's calling for Spags' head again. And he's the only one who gets to make that call, and he ain't doing it, is my guess. I don't know.
I don't think so, man. I'm done. And I've said this for years. This defense schematically, personnel-wise, it's not built for today's NFL. It's just not. And time and time again, usually this is the time where we start seeing that the players get more comfortable and the defense get comfortable. It's going the opposite direction right now. There's more miscommunication in the back end happening. There are guys getting beat that should not be getting beat anymore at this point. I'm pretty sure they pulled Josh Williams in this game because Jerry Jeudy just outright made him look foolish multiple times in this game. So they said, Watson, get back out there. Like, there is some real bad things happening on defense with this team right now. I mean, obviously the first quarter was great. Where were you the rest of the game?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they had some sacks and some timely things like that. But other than that, some awful. And I also want to mention that the decision to take the penalty on that would have been 3rd and 24 was inexcusable. It's bad coaching. It's an awful decision to make when you're putting your – I understand it's the Broncos. I understand it. But they've gouged you multiple times already. And they decided to let Russell Wilson, who, again, has been bad all season, back out there with 2 attempts to get it on third, third, and then 4th down if they wanted to. It's inexcusable. Your defense hasn't been good enough to that point. You can't do that. You can't give them extra downs when you're trying to just ice this game away. You can't. And then they end up scoring a touchdown. That's, in my opinion, not only is it a direct reflection on the coaching staff thinking they can do it, they just didn't seem to care.
Well, it felt like it was a mistake that they didn't feel was going to bite them. And one thing that didn't bite them tonight is injuries. So, like, I think everybody, this whole team just felt like this was a get-right game that wasn't going to cost them much, that they didn't have to put 100% into. And once they got up, they all kind of packed it in. I thought everything fell apart at that point. And all of a sudden, you got scared. And that's part of the problem. And Decimus Meridius, you will have your revenge in another life.
Nice.
Sorry, I love that movie.
That's
but
great.
Anyway, it is difficult. I thought that the rookie corners played a better game against the Bengals than they did against this team, where Jerry was really the only threat at wide receiver. And Jerry Jeudy had 3 touchdowns going into the season. He had 3 tonight. there are a couple of systemic things there. Yes, Josh Williams got beat physically. Jalen Watson got beat because he thought he had safety help. At least that's what it looked like to me. I put it in my notes. McDuffie got caught on a switch route where either he or the interior defender, I don't remember who it was, thought that they were doing different things because nobody went to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
This was not paying attention to detail. This was not necessarily physical, but something happened that maybe it was just like the hangover from last week and how challenging it was for the rookie corners last week. Something happened and everything kind of fell off along with the rest of the team where they just let down. And I think that can be corrected. I'm not going to take too much against the rookie corners tonight. I hope you guys don't either, because I think that's a little overreactionary in my opinion.
Yeah, McDuffie had, a couple miscommunications. But again, that was not just his fault. That's safety and guys not communicating properly. It's not just him. Everyone seemed to have some miscommunication on defense, and that's a systemic problem from a game that you didn't expect to have to cover. But a game you should that baffles me. You shouldn't have miscommunication problems in a game you expect to be up by a ton. You shouldn't. It shouldn't ever be a problem. So that was I would say uncharacteristic from the young guys. But again, you should learn to expect a little bit more of the miscommunications from the rookies, not so much the veteran safeties behind them.
Right. Yeah. It should almost be built in. Yeah. I thought, and actually, before I get to that, we'll finish Brett's question. And great stuff, Brett. I felt this was George Karlaftis' best game, to tell you the truth, both from being able to man the run, but being explosive and understanding when to turn it on. I felt like he came around the corner on a couple of stunts that worked really well. I was really happy with him. What did you take away from his game?
This is what we've been telling you guys. Like, started off slow. Yeah, he's getting better. He's working. The effort stuff's there. The sacks would come. 3 games in a row now. Yes, I know last week was Joe Burrow giving himself up. Still looks the same on the score sheet. The sacks would come, and they are coming because he is getting more comfortable. And that's really what this comes down to. Also, the Broncos offensive line's hot garbage, if you guys couldn't tell. It's awful. It's one of the worst in the NFL. So
they played 3 guards tonight, didn't they, on the left side?
3 separate guys at left guard. So it was a rotating, whatever turnstile, whatever you want to call it. It's what it was. And that's what it's been all season. So, but again, when you start, it doesn't matter how the sacks come. When they come, they get more. You get more comfortable, you get more confident. So Karlaftis is playing with a little more confidence. Obviously, he got his hand on the football tonight as well. So everything is starting to work for him, at least in some way, shape, or form. I thought that this was a nice bounce back game from a lot of the defensive linemen. They had a lot of nice reps in this game. Were let down at times by some play calling and some guys behind them. But I think the defensive line had a very nice game against a Broncos team that they should have dominated. And I think that they did for the most part.
If you guys want to get the full experience, you can jump into the Discord. You can sign up for free there. If you want to get all of it unlocked, you got to be a member here on the channel. So join the membership. There's a join button over there somewhere by underneath Dan. And you can become one of us. It's a monthly fee. You get extra content. You get all the stuff that we can't say in public because the algorithm doesn't like cussing and whatnot. At least not for the most part. I know these days it might be changing.
Some videos, some channels are very successll with it.
Right? Yeah, I'm not ready for that because I know there's some kids watching right now. So don't talk like we do. But check that out and make sure. And John S., I have no idea where Jody Fortson is either. They're rotating him through. He should be a mainstay in the target, but kudos to Gray. I think Gray's playing well. He's doing the dirty work and getting some help blocking. He's doing the wham stuff. Maybe they're making them earn these reps. I have no idea what it's coming down to. But it is what it is. Tatum, thanks, buddy. This game shows just how that we have some issues that need to be resolved quick. Yeah, and they know that this last part of the season is not terribly challenging. And they played like it. They got to turn that around. They got to turn that switch on and leave it on until the whistle blows at the end of the game to seal all this stuff up and make an impression, because the Bills didn't look great, but the Bills look better than the Chiefs did today.
Oh, yeah. And they played a way better defense.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Dirty. A win is great, but the Chiefs have to be better in the playoffs. You're absolutely right, and we're totally with you. Yeah, if you guys would like and subscribe, we appreciate that. And say hi to FLDB for triggering this, and Aaron Morrow as well. I think Gooch is in the house as well. Everybody say hi to Gooch. I haven't seen Keys yet, but I'm sure he'll get around to it as well. Yeah, almost 2 sacks, and he might have had a shot at a third. He had what? He did get an official batted pass, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He knocked one down.
Okay, I wanted to make sure he got credit for that because I didn't see it at time in the live stats. So I was trying to check it Oscar, how about Uye? Uye got my game ball over on Locked On Chiefs because this is the play I've been waiting for him to make since like his second or third season. And now this is what he can do. I think that again, that kind of play helps the offense kind of be like, okay, we're good because our other guys are going to make plays. They can't do that anymore. I just don't understand it, but kudos to Willie. I thought Snead played pretty well. I thought Cook came down and played well. Honestly, that Dulcich catch, if that doesn't hit straight up in the air, that's a PBU for Cook and a nice play. But I mean, luck is luck. I can't control that.
No, you can't. I actually thought L'Jarius Sneed was one of the best defenders in this entire game from Kansas City. I thought he was excellent everywhere. And in key situations, they were like, look, you go take Jerry Jeudy. I don't care what happens because he is their best cover corner. And that's exactly how it should be. I saw McDuffie get on them a few times too. But I think L'Jarius Sneed he's starting to do this in terms of a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about all pro. This is what he's starting to do. He is hitting a stretch right now where he's playing phenomenal football. And I think that should easily be recognized. And he was recently one of in terms of mocked second all pro corner. I think he can be a first team all pro corner if he can keep this type of play up now. Because, we're seeing the picks come. Now he's got 2 back-to-back, right? Or is that 2 out of 3 games?
I think it's 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 games. But still, the interceptions are coming. I think the play is getting better for him. And I think that he's just getting better as the season goes along. What we see from the defense typically is what he is doing right now. And it's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm really happy with them. Sean, 2 out of 3 were just great plays by the defense. I disagree. Surtain was a great play. That ball shouldn't have been in that area because it wasn't targeted correctly. The jump pass didn't have to happen. This is not protecting the ball. This is trying to make a big play. When you're up so much, you don't need it. The last one to Jewell, yes, very athletic plays by Josie Jewell. The first one I think was legit. The second one, I don't think Patrick saw him. I thought he just took the easy, I'm going to go to Kels here and it's done.
No,
I felt like he got surprised.
He was going to Juju. Yeah.
Whoever he was going to, it felt like he had predetermined and he wasn't paying attention. I don't think he saw Jewell on that last one. Do you?
I think he was trying to move him. I think he did the same thing on that one that he did the first one to Kelsey. He was trying to move Jewell. And initially he moved him in that direction. And that's what Jewell wanted him to believe. And then he stopped. That's the difference for me, is that Jewell made Mahomes pay. I think that they were both really good plays on him. Those are the ones that I thought Mahomes was trying to move a linebacker, but Jewell baited him into thinking that he moved, and he actually didn't. And then you have the crazy interception from Surtain. So Mahomes shouldn't have made the throw to Surtain. I think that he needed to not throw it to Kelsey and Juju in those situations myself on the other 2 interceptions.
I mean, you got to make sure the play is designed for them to actually be open. You don't need to force it to them.
Yeah.
I think that's where the distinction is. And unfortunately, sometimes he just gets carried away. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, and Patrick Mahomes carries a big sword. There's no way around that.
That's very true.
It saves you as much as it hurts you other times. You guys, I do have your questions stacked up. Thank you for your super chats. We are going to get to them all. Do not worry. We are coming along here. Good question. How do you give up 28 to the worst defense? I mean, we're going to talk about the details of all of that because that's the bigger question, is the takeaway. Let's see. Got that one. Tyler, what possible reason is there to still be calling a fullback dive? Well, yeah, we covered that. That's just not being creative or not wanting to give something away. Either way, it's got to come out of the playbook for a while. At least the game plan, keeping the playbook. But Corbin, after today's game, if I told you McCole could be re-signed for $30 million, would you do it? No.
I don't think you can give him double digit, because although I know the offense has looked a little bit different since he's been out, I don't necessarily think it's because of him. And also it's not correlation. It's just they've kind of gotten themselves into a rut. They haven't been using Sky Moore as much as they've used McCole Hardman in some of these aspects. I think that's kind of a detriment to their own regard. But yeah, you can't pay McCole Hardman $10 million a year because of what you've seen right now. I think you still have to, if you're looking to get him, it has to be $7 million and under per year. That would be where I'd be more comfortable seeing McCole Hardman re-signed. But I think we're going to see the free agent market play out a little differently.
I'll put it this way. McCole Hardman is not a finished product. He gets $10 million a year. He's never going to become a finished product. He will be satiated with that kind of income level. He will not progress to everything that he could be.
I don't think he's ever going to get that way. I think that what he is what he is, and that's fine. But that's why I said 7. I'm not going any higher than 7.
Okay. Well, even at 7, though, I feel like a key keeps him hungry enough to get to that third contract, maybe you can still get something progression-wise out of him. That's what I'd be hoping. Being 27-0, only to turn around and give up 21 straight points. Being up 27, sorry, I read that wrong. Spag's gone after the season. We don't know. Andy is very reluctant to get rid of guys. He kept Bob Sutton 3 extra years. So I got to think he's going to give way more runway than we expect to Steve Spagnuolo. Scott, quit blaming the defense if they were up 27 and Mahomes gave him 2 short fields. No one's blaming the defense, but they certainly didn't maintain that either. Short fields are short fields. Against an inadequate offense like that, you should have been able to stop them. It's more about the preparation and the lack of understanding, not having calls right. Quite frankly, it was the flip of last week where I thought the front played well and the secondary was a bit iffy. Although I will say, I felt like Juan Thornhill played pretty well tonight. What did you think?
Yeah, I think, again, you saw a missed tackle. I don't like seeing Russell Wilson be able to make you miss in open field. That's never something that makes me feel comfortable. But again, it looked like he was playing downhill. He was around the football. He was at his assignment. So I think he played much better this week than he did last week. So yeah, I'm with you.
Agreed. It's those huge misses that you just can't have.
That's disgusting.
Good Lord. Yeah. I mean, it just makes it terrible. Okay. I'm grabbing a couple more questions, folks. We're still pretty, you guys are doing great. You've covered a lot of my notes. We did talk about Watson and Judy, and I will add one more comment on there after we answer Holly's question. Thank you, Holly. Most confounding things to me are the games are the Mahomes interceptions, the red zone defense failed against the worst red zone offense. Exactly. And run the ball. Absolutely. But I need the ball to be run in a more varied way. I can't just have inside-outside zone anymore. It's got to be more than that. They've played with a number of different things. They seem to narrow everything down to a given game plan. They didn't have quick game in here. They didn't have slants on. They didn't have any of the combinations where you have to have quick game. They couldn't go back to it because they didn't have enough of it. It was in the first 15, and they didn't put it in the game plan the rest of the time. That's an issue.
When's the last time you saw a slant? When's the last time you saw it?
I don't recall.
I don't know if they run slants anymore. And I want to go back and I'm going to take some notes and see myself, but it's baffling that they don't run slant routes when should be a staple of every offense in the NFL. Running slant routes should be a staple. And it feels like they don't do it. I can't confirm that. It just feels like it.
And off of that comes the pitch game, the outside game. This long handoff outside zone thing doesn't work as well, especially when they know you're trying to run clock. They got to be able to mix it up a little bit more. It just feels like they're sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner and they only got one thing on their plate. Like they have to be able to differentiate within a ball game more in order to be successful.
It's like it's a buffet, man. It's like going to a buffet and getting the same thing every single time you go up there. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, right. This ain't Vegas. It ain't free. Thanks, Holly. Appreciate you. Frey, are we going to really start talking about Andy's play calling? He has been, I think we've been talking about it all night, Frey. Yeah. Tyler, hate underthrown DPI. McDuffie seemed pretty much the same amount of contact as the one on Kelsey. I agree with you there. They were there. I felt like, was it Esang? Was that who it was on? Or no, it was Mathis that just, he turned his head maybe 5 degrees and got credit for that, where it was not a very good effort, in my opinion.
No, it wasn't. He didn't even, he never found the football. He never found it. He just went like this. He looked to the side. And this is, by the way, the football's over here. When you're looking over here, he never saw that football ever. And I've seen that underthrown try to get around the corner, get called almost every single time this season that I've seen it. And McDuffie was just in front. He barely touched Jerry Jeudy. He barely touched him.
Honestly, go back to the touchdown on Watson. Watson, he gets beat off the line, and I'll give Jeudy credit for that. But then he either doesn't have the catch-up speed or he felt he had safety help. That's what I kind of think more, because you didn't see him close the gap when I think he could have. But the bigger problem is you have the one guy that's getting loose, getting releases, and you don't jam him again. With these rookies that need the help, you have to disrupt Russ. And that's something that Spagnuolo should have caught. That is a deficit.
It doesn't make any sense. Why don't they let the corners play him with more physicality? Well, why don't
beat over the top?
If you don't want to get beat over top, it's still happening when you don't when you're giving them.
I'd rather go down swinging. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like press and try to disrupt. Yeah, exactly.
Get some jams in there.
Especially when you got the one guy who's getting hot and you want to shut him down, not let him get on a full rail kind of blow up like he did, this is the reason why. Good point, Tyler. Thank you. Why does Gay go out on third downs, Ron Rice? He doesn't on all of them. Generally, if they want to blitz, they take him out. I think Harris, by my count, at least got like at least 3 blitz calls. And I think they're doing that, whereas Willie's generally going to be on the outside, maybe either spying so we can try to leap and bat a ball, or he's going to be in coverage. I think they're giving that away too much on that. And I think the Pacheco McKinnon usage is very specific about what the play calls on. I think they're giving things away by who the personnel is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
Carl, I don't know that they're going to fire anybody. We kind of talked about Spags already. Bieniemy's. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Tom, thank you for the support. Are you worried that we just left a lot more bad tape for the rest of the league to see and learn from today? By the way, you should have a boulevard now. I will try to go do that. I have a couple in there.
Who's gone?
Yeah. See, Dan's drinking quick. If I drink barley wine that quick, I'm done for. So y'all don't want to hear that, and the wife won't like it either. But yeah, and I think tape is part of it. Tom, you have a good point. I think this didn't put anything new on tape for anyone. I think Andy's hiding so that he doesn't give anything away, because this was almost as vanilla as I've seen them this year.
At one point, are we going to acknowledge that when we say this a lot, that he's too vanilla? When do they run anything differently in the postseason? When do they really do it any differently? I just think sometimes they have bad game plans. And again, you're up 27-0, and you said, probably, okay, we're done with the rest of this. We can just kind of coast. And then they're like, okay, we have to rush back into all of our other stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. Some of their game plans look like the Broncos, they may not have game planned to have to use a ton of different stuff in this game. And again, against a bad team, in division, you need to expect to play a full 4-quarter game. I don't care how bad they are. The Raiders came up and put out 17-0 on them at home, and they're not a good football team. You can't assume you're going to run over this team should never assume they run anybody over, because they don't do it.
No, they don't seal the deal. And honestly, Todd Bowles in the Super Bowl should have taught you something, that even defensive coordinators who have their scheme will change it up on you. You have to be more adaptable in game. There's only 60 minutes. You got to be able to do it. Thank you, Tom, for your last super chat. Thank you, Cody, for this one. Fortson was hot towards the end of the game and after. Anyone else see why he was so mad? I did not. Did you see that at all, Dan?
I didn't see it at all. Hopefully it's just because he's,
not getting used.
about usage.
I hope so, too. Evidently, Frank said something tonight, too. I haven't seen that yet either. Let's see. Next, PK, thank you. What's going on with us? And why do they – I'm not even reading. I'm so fired up now. It was a stinker. That's the best I can tell you, PK. What's going on with us? We won, but it was a stinker. Yes, I think that's it. I think the more I look at the last 6 weeks, it's more about just doing enough to win. It's like my kids in school. They're just doing enough to get by. They're not trying to ace anything. No offense, kids. They are working hard today, but shout out to my children. They've had a long day. So anyway, but yeah, it's like they're just doing enough to get the win, and that's all they care about. Mr. Gooch is back.
Gooch.
Welcome. Glad you made
What's
it
up?
here, dude. The thing does still work. And so, hey, thanks for saying hi to Dan. And glad you're back, Gooch.
Appreciate you, Brian.
Tyler, how badly do we need to re-sign Juju? I don't want to picture this offense without him. Nobody seems to be able to get open or manipulate zone.
Yeah, that's a good point. You guys notice, MVS pretty much non-existent in this offense. He had 2 big plays last week, or a couple of big plays last week. He had the big catch here on third down. I'm at a loss for words. This offense is run around 3 guys on right now without McCole Hardman and without Kadarius Toney. It's Jerick McKinnon, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Travis Kelce are your passing options. Everybody else kind of maybe every once in a while you get a pass in here and there, but predominantly that's what it's around. MVS had 3 targets in this game.
Yeah.
If you're going to put him out there a ton, I don't know, maybe you should actually throw him the football a little bit to get some confidence in him, to be able to throw some coverage off of everybody else. Because if you can actually target him and complete some easy passes to him that aren't behind him or over his head, Patrick, you can start to grow his confidence, And again, you add another weapon into the fold. No one's scared of him beating them because, one, they don't use him enough. And when they do, it's just deep down the field. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, and good for him for not having his drop tonight, like his customary one. He had one big play. Good for him. But he was targeted at the same time as Noah Gray was, and he wasn't as productive. I don't know. That says a lot, I got to tell you. So they need more.
I think MVS is gone next year. Honestly, the way they're using him at the end of the season, I think he's gone.
You
can't justify his contract when he's not being used. You can't justify it.
Yeah. I think that's the way they're going to end up feeling as well. We need to get Sky involved in the jet sweep, and Tony and Hardman are not playing. Yeah, absolutely. And it was there. And I felt early good about Sky because I think he was targeted. It was like first quarter, wasn't it? So it's like, oh, they're going to include him. He's in the game plan. They're going to try to feed him a little bit, get him going. And nothing. It was all crickets. Chris Jones had his 15 sack season. The team was running 3-4, and he was 5 tech. I don't think he was. So no,
that was Spags' first year, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know. I'll have to go back and check, but I don't think so, Sean. I think that was Spags, and Spags does not run a 3-4 like ever. Tim, I'm totally with you. Gunther is the unsung hero of Chiefs history. I'm just going to tell you that. And he could have been a much greater head coach if circumstances had not been what they were. Rest in peace, DT. Bucker Burner, thanks for being here, Harrison. Mahomes needs to not fixate on Kelsey to the interceptions. There were wide receivers running hitches that were open. That's pretty much true on most plays because, quite frankly, everybody's concentrating on Kels. But at the same time, that's how the offense works a lot of the time as well. I think it's comfort, it's focus, it's not being threatened by having to go to the other receivers a lot. But again, he targeted 8 guys tonight. 7 of them got catches. And I wouldn't put the one Justin Watson on blast for the ones that he didn't catch. Tyler, Frank Clark tweet at least could send that the defense feels the same way. I'm not sure what that is. I wish I'd seen it. Maybe Dan will find that because he sounds like he's clicking around. I don't
know. I'm trying to find it. I see multiple people talking about Frank Clark. I'm like, I got to find this.
Nikki, did Mahomes lose the MVP today? I don't think so. If he had lost a ball game, maybe. But everybody has bad days. I don't think the league is going to hold it against him.
All right. So I found the Frank Clark tweet, but you go ahead and finish with Nikki.
No, that was pretty much it. Like I think the fans are going to be more sensitive to this one than the voters will be. We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
I do think that, what they're doing in Philadelphia, it does make it harder for Mahomes throwing more picks to get it. But Frank Clark tweets out, terrible freaking game. We will get better as a collective. With late games in the season, it's imperative that we operate on the same page as one. So, yeah, he clearly, outside of Andy Reid coming out and saying that he thought that the defense played hard. And I can understand Coach Peak. That was not appropriate. That defense played like crap at the end of the game after you guys went up 27-0. But Frank Clark shares the sentiment that they did not play very well as a collective unit after they went up 27-0 because you can't let – I don't care what anybody says. You can't let one of the worst offenses, if not the worst offense in the NFL, score 28 points. You can't. It's not something that should ever happen. It was the most points that they scored all season. Russell Wilson had 8 touchdowns going into this game. He threw 3 touchdowns or two or three touchdowns in this game. It cannot happen. It can't.
Yeah. I mean,
it's inexcusable.
And I think what Frank's comment also tells you about is the fact that they got 6 sacks is more about the lack of prowess on the Broncos side than what Frank thinks this defense should be doing. He still feels that they played poorly despite all those sacks. I think they overmatched them for once. It's nice for the Chiefs defensive front to be the overmatch rather than the undermatch most of the time. Yeah. Folks, this is the breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm seeing a spike in people. This is what we do post-game. We've gone through our notes. We're answering your questions. There's still a point or two that I'll make if we get time, but want to make sure we get you in here. Welcome. I'm Ryan. This is Dan. Click the like and the sub and get with us. We're going to go back to the question file here. Let's see. Where is it? It is Quentin. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your support. Is this a sign to fire Spags? Also, a few bucks for Ryan Rant to hear your real opinions. My real opinions, unfortunately, I am the son of a sailor. And in the U.S. Navy, if you don't cuss, something's wrong with you. So you will hear that when I am ranting. Dan's a little bit better than me, I have to say. Like you deliver high energy without having to go on the bad words.
That's something. Yeah, that's something I've gotten better at. Something I've gotten better at with the channel, because you have to learn in this industry how to be fiery without, especially on this channel, without having to swear. So I can find ways to bring in a lot of energy, but I'll give you a preview about what's going to happen this week on my rant about Steve Spagnuolo. The fact of the matter is that year after year, this team develops a bend but don't break approach. They're getting broken. They are bending and they are breaking just about every single week lately. And that's a problem. It's just what it is. It's a problem. I understand you have Patrick Mahomes. I understand that he can make anything happen. Why does he have to? Why does he have to feel like he has to throw the ball when they're up 27-0, 27-7, 27-14? Why does that feel like they have to continue to throw the football? Because he has to. Because Steve Spagnuolo wants to blitz on a situation where he doesn't have to and leave a guy wide open for a screen for a touchdown, and then there's bad tackling afterwards.
Yeah.
These things don't need to happen. They don't have to happen, but they happen because Steve Spagnuolo does not care. He doesn't care. And he's shown that he doesn't care. He thinks that Patrick will bail him out. And I understand. Patrick's the best quarterback in the NFL. He had himself a bad day today. Still threw for like almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay. You can't just say, Patrick will bail me out. I don't care if they score 28 points. If Patrick had a defense and defensive-minded coach as defense coordinator that said, no, we're going to stop them, give them a 14 to 20 point every single week, they would win so many games. So many games. But here we are with the Denver Broncos scoring 28 points, and we have to sweat out this game at the end because Steve Spagnuolo doesn't care. That's the thing, is we have to sweat it out. That's the problem. They're still winning the ball games. They've only lost 3 times this season. Exactly. But we have to sweat it out. Yep. There you go. So you got what you paid for, Quentin.
Just wait. There'll be more this week. Where is Holly? I just missed her comment, but you were absolutely right, Miss Holly, about Tommy. And I was going to bring him up. He is the last note on my list here. So, okay, I cannot find the one that you were saying, so I'm going to use this one. Thank you, Quentin. After almost 3 seasons, Tommy haters have been mostly science. I was on board with them before the first season. Yes, you had it. I think it was the hair for you, but I could be wrong. But I will say this was, it's nice when everything else breaks down that you have somebody you can trust, and you can certainly trust Tommy. And that's a lot to be said. He got a game ball from Matt Derrick on Locked On tonight.
You know, Tommy Townsend's having the best season of his career. But he frustrates the absolute hell out of me because he will not angle the football out of bounds. He just boots it down there, and they just hope for their coverage team to get it. Angle it out of bounds, man.
That's a Tobe call. I guarantee you that's a Tobe call.
I hate it.
I know.
I hate it.
I know it bugs me too.
But worst.
It's the way it goes around here, folks. Don't rant. Dan rant featuring Ryan. Needs someone else to go scorch earth on Spags. Yes, Dan will have you covered.
I will.
Yeah. Any word on Kiara's husband's injury? Sierra. How do you say her name?
Sierra. Yeah.
Sierra. Okay. Sorry.
So you guys saw the bump on his head, by the way. They showed it. That thing was huge.
Yeah, that was significant. Well, when they said that, like, he went down, like it was right side down, right? Yeah. And they said that everybody knew right away they were calling for the trainer.
Even the Chiefs defensive players were like, hey, bro, should you come out here?
This looks bad. Holly, my take is that our D is very talented, but the players have communication gelling as a unit seems to be off. That's where I feel that we're missing Honey Badger. I like where you're going there, and I agree with the first part. I don't think Honey Badger fits. I think he got so frustrated last year. He was more of a distraction and a problem than he was a fix. That's just my take. But
I don't disagree with that. It does seem that the communication at times is off, and I don't know what needs to be fixed because Nick Bolton is your defensive leader. I don't know whether he's not up to standard on that, but again, second-year player.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Like, it's not quite. It can't all be on him yet because he's still ascending. He hasn't arrived yet. He's still on the way up. I think when he gets there, I think he'll have that much more clout that he can do that a little bit more successfully. And honestly, let's be real. DBs are a different breed. they got to be led from the back as well. And that falls to Justin Reed right now. That's why he's here. Miss Holly, thank you. Gary, are you afraid of Mahomes throwing so many? Afraid? No, because just like this one where he throws 3 picks, they still win. He still is Mahomes. He generally can make up for it. But anytime that you make this many mistakes throwing the ball in a single ball game, it is a concern. He generally responds pretty well, though. He just got to get out of the system before the postseason.
The simple weird thing about this, they've thrown picks and turnovers in like the last 8 straight games.
Yeah,
it's been awful, and I don't really understand what's going on, why they feel the need that they have to make games more complicated than they are. And that's kind of what this team feels like. Again, I talked a little bit about it earlier, is that they make mental mistakes every single week, and that's kind of part of their DNA. That's hard to live through.
Tom, thank you. Do you think that Patrick could throw the league MVP out the window after his performance day? 3 picks hardly MVP worthy. Thank you, Tom. As always, I don't think it's necessarily going to cost him the MVP. If he has another down week next week, we're going to get into that territory, in my opinion. But again, the voters are the voters, and I think because they're almost all seasoned journalists that have seen so many seasons, I think they have a tendency to not react as much to a singular bad game or even a couple, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. And again, it's because Jalen Hurts is leading a team that's 11-1 or 11-2 now. I forget what it is. I think they're 11-1. It's hard to compete with that. And he has so many rushing touchdowns. And honestly, Mahomes doesn't care about the MVP anymore. It's not about the individual awards for him anymore. He's got an MVP. It's about Super Bowls. So I know that we're all trying not to be superstitious, but league MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. They just don't. They have a curse. It's a curse on them for whatever reason it is. I know that it's not, it's not real. It doesn't actually exist. But for whatever reason, bad things happen to players who win the MVP. The Chiefs lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Matt Ryan is consistently talked about. The 28-3. They lose that Super Bowl. Cam Newton. The list goes on. So it's not the end of the world if Patrick Mahomes doesn't win the MVP. It might help him out.
Honestly, and for Patrick's legacy, nothing matters as much as rings right now. That's it. So he's going to be focused on that. Exactly. Chris, thank you for your support. We appreciate you, buddy. Jonathan, after this game and hearing Dallas concerns about Odell, if you are KC, do you make an offer for, say, 2 years? I think they do. If they make an offer, it will be 2 or 3 years so they can get out of it, much like this MBS one. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I have a tendency to think anything that comes out of Jerry Jones' mouth is smoke more than reality. So I don't know. But the fact that there's been no other news, he was supposed to make, 2 other visits this last week? I didn't hear anything about him. So I don't know. There may be truth there. Let's see what happens, because quite frankly, the worst thing you can do is go make an investment in a player that isn't healthy, because that hurts everybody all the way around, now and later.
Yep, you're right.
Zach, thank you, sir. Sorry, guys, I haven't been able to watch these last 2 games with my jersey been on a trip. Okay, rock and roll. Well, thanks for the support and glad you're back.
Appreciate you, Zach.
Cheers. Willie Gay saved us with the touchdown. Mo, that's a very good point. That was a heck of a play that kept them in it. Go ahead.
So, if they don't score a touchdown there, how do you think the Chiefs play the rest of the game? That's interesting, because after that pick 6, it felt like they just said, it's over. Okay, we're going to let off the pedal.
So you think if that doesn't happen, they're more in it and it does not become as close as it did?
Maybe. That's semantics. Like, it's just a fun conversation to have. It was awesome to see Willie Gay make the pick. Like, it was awesome. That's the kind of thing that he can do. And I think that Russell Wilson supremely underrated his athletic ability right there. Just kind of tosses it up, and he's like, I'm going to go ahead and just tip that to myself, guys, because I'm that athletic. So, it was awesome to see. If you tell me it ends up differently, okay, maybe I ask for that to happen, but I want that to happen for Willie Gay. He needs that kind of play.
Well, B confirmed us. Last slant he saw was against the Colts. So, hey, fair enough. It's been a while that it's where, I'm sure they've run some.
I'm sure.
I just don't think they've targeted any for quite a while. I wish Mahomes checked out of plays like Peyton did and just run the ball. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like I said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. He has an elite, I mean, historic capacity, things no one else can do. That's what precludes him from taking the easy route out and going to the run like Peyton did. Peyton always knew that he had a decent arm, not a great one, and that he had to be smarter than everybody. That's how Peyton was successful. Patrick does it a completely different way.
I look at what the Bengals have done. They have come out this past week and said that around week 5, they gave Joe Burrow freedom to do whatever basically he wanted to do. I want to see an offense that's done with Patrick Mahomes doing that, because I guarantee you he does not. I guarantee you Andy Reid has too much control still over an offense that I think should be controlled by Patrick at the line of scrimmage. He should be able to make changes and make all those kind of plays. If he's as smart as Andy Reid consistently says that he is, let him do it more. I want to see it. Let it happen, because if he sticks to these play calls all the time, we're going to keep having these conversations.
Yeah. Corbin, are we the new Green Bay, completely reliant on the star QB for all success and destined for playoff exits? I don't think that they're destined for playoff exits, but it's a concern because they are too reliant on the quarterback. They have some other talent, but it all requires him to get them the ball right now. As much as the line's been rebuilt, they aren't dominant in the run to say that this running back can carry as much load or the running back position can carry as much load. So they are dependent on him. And until the defense can put it all together and have a secondary game like last week against really great competition and have a defensive front effort like they had today, till it all comes together every week, then they are an up and down bottom third defense and always will be. We'll talk about that when the coaching changes. I think that's coming. I just don't know if it's soon, everyone.
Yeah.
So, but I don't necessarily agree that destined for playoff exits, because as good as Aaron Rodgers is, Mahomes has an extra level of YOLO, I'm going to get this done craziness to him. Holly just wants a solid workhouse on punts. Why isn't he getting more targets at wide receiver? I don't have an answer for you other than, as much as Patrick likes him, I think they talked about him on the broadcast tonight as well. It's just that it's Kelson Juju. It's Kelson Juju, and then maybe somebody else. And when that maybe comes around, there seems to be other play calls on than what he's doing.
Yep. It's just kind of how it is.
So you don't think it's more than that?
No, it's comfort level. You know, they target him down the field a good amount. He doesn't seem to be a guy they want to get the ball into his hands early. He's definitely more of a deep running receiver, and they have too many of those. Honestly, they have too many of those, and that's kind of a problem. Him and MVS function the exact same, in my opinion. MVS is a better blocker, but at the end of the day, how much are you really relying on your wide receiver to block for you? You're not. They function the same. One's far cheaper. I don't know, man. I just kind of sick of two guys on the roster that function the exact same, and you're not getting much out of either of them.
Hey, that's fair. I found it, Miss Holly. This was your comment about Tommy being fantastic, and he was 75-yard punt. I mean, that's remarkable.
So upset that it just trickled into the end.
I know, right?
It was like, I want to. No, we're gonna go in.
If you had a chance to hire, and thank you, PK. If you had a chance to hire a new defensive coordinator, who would it be, Dan?
Vic Fangio, and I wouldn't even think twice about it. Vic Fangio was one of the best defensive coordinators in the last, 30 years in the NFL. He is very good at what he does, and that's the kind of defense you want to see with Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback on the opposite side.
I will agree with you. Everyone knows that I'm a Rex guy. Unfortunately, in today's league, Vic's system is way less risky for nearly as much payoff as Rex's system. Yep. Rex is a steroid-induced diesel version of Spags. You will never know where they're coming from. They will always be coming, but they will get caught too. That much pressure leads to mistakes. It leads to big plays. And so I think Fangio is a safer system, one that can more put up with, like Dan said, keeping teams under 23 points. You win every ball game, period.
Every one. The Chiefs average nearly 30 points a game. If teams can't score above 23 points, they're not winning.
Yeah. It's pretty.
It's mathematics, y'all. That's all it is.
Let the math do the work. Do you think that Rookie Wall has been hit by the rookies on this defense? What do you think?
Absolutely not. I think that again. I think McDuffie played really well in this game. Should have had a pick. Ended up being a PBU. A bad defensive pass interference call on him. But otherwise, did you see him getting beat? No. Did you see him getting touchdowns thrown over his head? No. I mean, I think Watson came in, had some good play when Williams was getting beat. I think that's what you're going to see, is that Watson's a little bit better of a lateral athlete than Williams is, and Williams gets beat by lateral quickness. And when you see him have struggle with that, they're going to be like, okay, go back to Watson, and that's why they've been stuck in this consistent Watson Williams. One can't take the reins fully because they struggle with one or the other thing, and it's causing some problems.
And they don't mix it up enough, because what do you do with that? A guy that has good lateral agility, you let him press. A guy that has good deep agility, a good long speed, you play him off a little bit more. You let him use his talent. So unfortunately, they're trying to make two pegs fit into their system.
Exactly.
Kudos to McDuffie, because he can do it all well. He does have strengths and weaknesses, but he does everything well. And I think if you're not that kind of player like McDuffie and Steve, it exposes you to having your weakness exploited, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So they'll continue to try to build him up. But that's why. I agree. I don't think they've hit the wall. Pacheco looks great energy-wise. Karlaftis certainly does. McDuffie certainly does. I'm a little concerned about Josh Williams' confidence after this game.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's wall related. I just think that's play script and the results that have happened. I worry about Kennard. Kennard was a scratch today. So in terms of the other rookies, that's about the only one that I'm super. I thought Leo played well when he was in today, so I'm happy with him.
I'm kind of done with seeing him at linebacker. Let him play defensive end. And it's not his fault, because this defense doesn't use a lot of Sam. Mm-hmm. I want to see him as a defensive end. I want to see something different. Let him pass rush a little bit. You drafted him on day 2. You got to find ways to get something out of him. He can't be a Sam. Yeah. But that's poor investment in a position you basically never use. There's got to be somewhere else, something else you can get out of Leo Chanel, and just let him rush the passer a little bit more, because if this is what he ends up being, you wasted a pick on him, in my opinion. You wasted it.
I mean, honestly, he had nearly the same eval that Baron Browning had for the Broncos when he came out. Can't play backwards, has to play downhill. Browning's made that transition to edge rusher pretty well. Maybe Leo can too. I knew that they weren't going to do it this year, but I hope that they do it in the future. Daniel, we talked about Rex Ryan. I'm not a big fan of Greg Williams. I would not hire him for this system, for this group either. So I don't think that's in the cards. I think Cullen's it. I think he's here on purpose in case Spags retires or gets a job. I don't think he's in any danger of getting a head coach job anytime soon. So I think we're good there.
That's a definite no.
Austin, it's so odd that with this team that when Mahomes plays bad, the defense seems to mimic the same. It feels like the best momentum team in the league and also the worst. I think that's the big point right there. This team plays down to their competition on both sides of the ball every week, period.
Every week. And
that's a problem. And I'm not trying to throw it at the players. It's partly the players, but that's on the staff as well. They plan down to their opponents as well.
Yeah.
They're too greedy with the playbook. They don't want to open it up and show anybody anything.
I mean, back to the run game, it felt like they like you said, just zone a couple counters in there, but they were just like, no, we're not doing anything different. Yeah, even them.
Even those weren't true counters. They were just like a stutter step. That's not counter. Counter's hard action one direction where you cut it back. I didn't see any of that tonight. Maybe I missed it, but I wish they would. I wish they would. This is me. I'm Tommy 2 times now. I'm watching Goodfellas. Everything's going to come out of my mouth twice. Tommy, thank you again. Do you think we blitzed a little too much given the opponent, or Spags working out some kinks for the stretch run? Are they a top 10 D yet? They're not a top 10 D yet. And he's blitzed when he didn't have to today.
I'm going to say something very, very quickly, because if I stay on it too long, I don't know when I'll stop. Russell Wilson struggles when he has time. Right now, his clock is so sped up because the offense has been so bad that he forces himself into poor positions. Why ever blitz him? This offensive line is so awful. I would have considered dropping 8 into coverage and just putting
just to confound
3
him.
defensive ends out there, Chris Jones and 2 defensive ends, and say, beat me, because I know that you can't. I know from what we've seen this season that if Russell Wilson has time, eventually he's going to run into a sack or he's going to throw a pick. The blitzes weren't terrible this game. I think that they did a good job getting home on a lot of them. You didn't need to use them, though. As much as he did, cut it in half. And you probably don't see a game as close. That's all I'll say.
I'll say this, Tom, if they can continue to pressure like this against, offensive lines that aren't falling apart, then they still have potential to rise. That's where it's at.
We'll see.
Oregon, nice to see Willie's athleticism show through. Yep. I even tweeted out just to remind everybody, he was number 1 in his class at his position in his draft class. And that showed. Unfortunately, it's taken 3 seasons to get there. Yeah. But if he's putting it together now, I mean, sky's the limit for him. Super Devil Juice, any free agents on the D-line next season you would like to see on the team? I have not looked at free agency yet. Anybody come to mind, Dan?
Like I said, I haven't either. And I don't mean to, kind of dismiss the question, but we'll get there when we get there. I'll get to the free agent class after the draft, much like I've got so much work to do on the draft.
Yeah. It's phase by phase for us. We always do that. So we'll get there. But also, every time I make a prediction about somebody I like to see in Kansas City, he ends up resigning with his team. So I'm bad luck when it comes to that stuff. So let's not go there. But hey, we'll see what happens. I think they have to add someone, and I'm sure that they will. Thank you again, Tom. New equipment for the NFL D-line, 3-foot butterfly nets. We did get home a lot better today, and they actually hit the quarterback. And that's the thing. It's like, even if you don't sack him, at least if you hit him, knock him on the ground, make him feel your presence. That's important. Thanks again, Tom. Big contributor, and I appreciate it. Average points per drive ranks for the defenses for notable QBs. Wilson, 7. So this is points per drive against for the defenses. Allen at 7.6, Brady at 8.3, Manning into the teens, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Breeze at 19 plus. Yes, that's very stout. I had never seen the points put that way, Britton, but thank you for pointing that out. It's exactly what it is. You have to rely on him because he doesn't have much choice.
I want to focus on some positives because I'm starting to get run down right now.
Okay.
Let's try to turn this around.
Cook, Trey Smith's block. Let's have some fun. Smith's block.
I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't get flagged for it. He hit him in the head.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a little surprising. Obviously, he was in the right spot at the right time. He hit him in the head, and I was like, I'm really shocked there's no flag thrown on this play. So everyone wants to talk about how it was great. He hit him above the shoulders. So I was a little confused. I was like, obviously he takes him out of the play, but I thought it was kind of borderline flaggable. So it is what it is. I guess I'm not as impressed with the block as everybody else is.
It was really athletic, though. You got to give him credit there.
Yeah,
and he had a nice throw by block on the screen previous to that too. So it's just nice to see him actually do something outstanding because I think he struggled to return from the lower body and the pec thing, and like it feels like he's coming around now. I think that can really help.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
And Will, good point about this. We'll get to that one next. Does boss stand for barely outplay a crappy squad? Hey, I made the thumbnail before the game. I felt good about it at halftime, so I didn't change it. In game, making new thumbnails is a pain in the butt, so I didn't change it. Hey,
that was a really nice on the fly correction from you. Like, I'm very impressed you didn't actually say it. So hats off to Ryan for not just going with the flow there, because that's very, very close.
I try. Yeah. I read that about 5 times before I actually said it because I've been sitting here looking at it. And this is a great point, Will. We should have gotten to this before. No love for Mike. And Mike Dana is Dan's guy, and I'm sorry we didn't bring it up because he was in the backfield. He made the big play, but he made a lot of presence known.
It's like he's a backup 5 tech. I don't know if I saw him at edge at all in this game. I saw him interior, and that was something we saw last week. And the Bengals exposed him in the run game with some double teams, but against a team that they knew they weren't going to run the ball very much, and they didn't do it very successfully. Mike Dana has had a very resurgent season. especially in the pass rush department. I'm very, very happy with what he's been able to do. I think he had a sack plus in this game. I don't remember exactly. Multiple tackles for losses. He was all over the stat sheet with getting in the backfield. So very, very impressed. Appreciate you both bringing it up because I can never turn down an opportunity to talk about one of my guys. Ever.
It a sack a hit in the TFL, although I think the NFL calls the sack a TFL, so that might be the same play. But hey. The official scorekeepers always throw me for a loop. So yeah, but he penetrated a couple of times. I thought I saw him outside once. I agree with you. It was not very often. I thought it was once on a NASCAR package.
Maybe.
But good for him. He's playing valuable roles, valuable reps in his role, and that's really starting to pay off. Exactly. Let's see here. Who's up next? Daniel, in terms of free agency, I'd like to see Deron Payne or Montez Sweat, simply because Washington can't pay both guys.
Deron Payne would look pretty nice in that defensive line room. I'll just say that.
I can get down with that. The question is always going to be cost. You got to give Chris an extension probably to keep him, and that's just driving that position group through the roof at that point.
Yeah.
That's going to be the question. You get some relief from Frank, but Frank's only $13 million against the cap right now. And he's nothing next year, by the way. And I think they have 11 available for next year. They got some work to do there.
Yeah.
Brant Sills is going to be busy this offseason. So
they'll figure it out.
Kudos to him. Yeah, 177, hold my beer. No problem. Are you surprised Judy didn't get ejected? Tyler, you bring up a very good point. Contacting the ref is almost always an immediate ejection. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure he also at least took his helmet off on the field, which is a penalty.
Good point.
So
good point.
Multiple times where they just decided to look the other way when Jerry Jeudy did something he shouldn't have been doing. So again, there was a couple times in that game where the refs looked the other way. But they didn't call a ton of penalties on either team, so whatever.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes you got to let them play. Usually that's postseason, but hey, if they're going to do it as long as it's even, I can live with it. Maybe Tyreek will do us a favor and go for 150 against the Chargers. Yeah, hey, you never know. Either way, I'm fine. I have something. I haven't announced it yet. Something cool coming for you guys that love Dan's work. The In Harm's Way shirts are going to be available here this week. I finally got that design approved. And I have a very special one that I've been working on for over a year that now is even better because it's going to be 7 times AFC West champions. That will drop as soon as it's official. If Chargers lose tonight, it'll be available for you on the RGR store tomorrow morning. I guarantee it.
That's awesome.
I'm pretty excited about that. I wish I had a preview, but I put it all up and it's locked until it goes because I don't want to be that guy that jinxes everything and put out a title shirt that doesn't happen. I will not be that guy.
As soon as it happens, you need to tweet it, though.
I definitely will. I definitely will. In fact, I'm not going to put it on. I'm not going to make it visual, but I might put the link just in the chat. Anyway, great comment, Brett. I thought the fact that I didn't notice Joe Tootie in any negative way was a great sign. He was iffy all week.
Yeah.
So kudos to him for powering through.
Agreed. Again, I think that he's probably wasn't perfect, but at the end of the day, even not being perfect is an upgrade over Allegretti, who again, I think is a very good backup to have. And that shows in games like this.
Thank you, Gary. We appreciate you, OG, very around much. Here. Very much keep us going here. Abraham, any idea what was going on with Jody at the end of the game? I didn't see anything, Dan. Did you?
Again, I didn't either. So maybe I'll have to watch the broadcast back to the end and see what happened because I didn't see anything.
Dang. Okay. I thought maybe you, being the smart one of the two of us, had already gotten that done. So hey.
I tried,
I'm going to give you another. We might be out of questions. If you guys have any questions, last call for questions right now. But Dan, let me ask you a question while I hunt for this link. Overall, where they are right now with 3 losses, are they plus minus what you had expected when we were preseason ready to get this thing going?
Absolutely. Like I figured they would be close to this at this point because I had them at 12. No, I didn't. It was 13-4, which is the record that I had them on the season, if I remember correctly. So this is really right on par because the end of the season here was always looking pretty simple for them in terms of opponent with the Texans and the Raiders and things like that. So I really do think that this is exactly where I would have had them to begin with. So how they got there, maybe is up for debate. You could talk about it. And I would like to very much say that winning against an NFL opponent 14 straight times is unheard of. It's unheard of. It doesn't happen. The Chiefs just beat the Broncos for the 14th straight time. It didn't look pretty. It was where a lot of this chat was ugly. We talked a lot about the things that they needed to do better. Mahomes throws 3 picks, they win. So and I know that it's not fun to say it's not all doom and gloom, but guess what? 14 straight against the Broncos. If you would have said that like 6 years ago, everybody would have been signing up for that. Everybody would have been like, yes, bring it. It's here. Travis Kelce, 1,000+ yards on the season again, over 10,000 for his career. Just living Hall of Famer. We get to watch him every week. There are some good things to take out of this game, as much as it hurts watching it, and how they got there. It was awful to watch. Like, I had a bad taste in my mouth. My stomach hurt. I was anxious, not just because my daughter has been sick today. Like, just they won. Okay. They are 10-3. Obviously, they don't have the number 1 seed in their control, but you never know what happens. So they're in the position that they want to be when it matters most.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. It's about striking distance, being able to rise when you can. And I'm happy with that part of it anyway. You guys, I did just put a link in the chat. It's only for the live chat. If you want in on this new shirt now,
love it.
Go grab it now, because I'm not putting it in the description until it happens, because I don't want to be the jinx. But just for us here that are live, I wanted you guys to have it so you can get it quick. The way that the store works, it is drop shipped. It's printed on your purchase, so it does take a little bit. So it's the turnaround in particular on some of these designs has been kind of long. That's why Dan doesn't have his in harm's way shirt right now. So like there's things that go into it, but I just wanted you guys to know that it was going to be out there. So let's see who's next. Peyton, Tyreek's numbers blowing up yards wise, indicative of the Dolphins' use of him or the Chiefs' lack of creativity with him. I go back to what I said preseason. I think the too high, all kinds of weird shells was not just to stop Tyreek. It was to stop Patrick. Tyreek with Tua doesn't get the same respect. And Tyreek's doing what Tyreek did early with Patrick, with not free reign, but he's getting loose.
Exactly. Also, how many times do you think Patrick Mahomes underthrew Tyreek Hill down the field? I just want to say that he's catching some balls that are underthrown in front of coverage. So maybe that's designed. Mike McDaniel is so good at his job, guys. I want you to understand. I broke down the play from their very first touchdown last week against the 49ers on the NFL33.com. If you please check that out, it'd be awesome. But he's very good at what he does. So and it's not just the RPO game, it's the run game, it's everything. But also, again, Patrick Mahomes is the reason that the too high became important. It wasn't Tyreek. Any fast guy they would have been burning teams with. It wouldn't have mattered. It's Patrick Mahomes. They were like, we don't want you throwing the ball deep at all, so we're not going to let you do it. Tua, you throw the ball deep. We don't really care.
It's a different respect. I think that may change over time, but it's a respect thing. Iron Man, teams are running a cover 6 with a mix of zone and man. It's been working a lot of this season across the NFL. Why do the Chiefs seem to be a step behind on defense? It's not necessarily a step behind. Spags has mixed his zones quite a bit. 6 is the hot thing right now. Yeah. But honestly, it's not just 6. It's 6 with match underneath it, so that one of those quarter guys may turn and run man with somebody if he crosses his zone. It's a level of complexity above what we've seen recently. It's building on Saban's plan at Alabama. I mean, that's where match really started. And now it's shifting. Spags and Merritt, I feel like they like their system and they want to keep it simple. Match relies a lot on not only the knowledge, the cerebral part of playing DB, but on visual acuity and being able to see it and go right now. So I think it's just a challenge.
I mean, it's just Spags doesn't want to do it. He doesn't run cover 4. He doesn't run anything outside of what he runs. He's not inventive enough in that way. But he does change his defense up like every single snap. Like he changes it. I think there was a chart out showing how many times that a defensive coordinator or defensive look changes. He's among, if not the most changing in terms of snap to snap percentages. It's just he runs what he runs, and you're seeing him not want to do what's working best in the NFL right now. And again, that's why his defense isn't fit for today's NFL. I've been saying it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Michael, thank you. Great question. Did Kelsey look tired or fatigued?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. He's 33 years old. And as good as he still is, he's not as quick as he was 3 seasons ago. He's still very quick comparatively. He's still probably the most explosive tight end in the league. I mean, Chiga Okonkwo might actually be more, but Chig's a baby in this league. He hasn't done anything yet. We'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, I think they're doing a good job rotating him out. The only thing I didn't like is he came out after that one big catch in red zone. And I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, you are still there to put up points. He's in there to do that. So
I'm with you.
That's my only qualm. Let's thank you again, guys. If you would head over and check out the Chief in the North and everything else at the store. And again, that link that's in the chat, I didn't pin it or anything. It's in there if you want to go get it in the live chat. I'm not jinxing anything. If this doesn't happen tonight or next week, it's not my fault. I'm saying that right now.
Just saying.
Okay, you were
find it. Go find it.
Yeah. Hey, it's kind of cool. I really love this one. And this is a great question, Info. What do you think about Brandon Staley as DC? How he won't last as a head coach?
Yeah.
I think of Brandon Staley exactly the same way I think of Rex Ryan, except I love Rex because I like his personality. Staley, I don't know if he has a personality, but they are meant to be defensive coordinators. They are not head coaches.
You're right. The problem with Staley is his defense relies a lot on 2 gapping defensive tackles. Chris Jones does not fit in that mold. He is not going to ever be a 2 gapping defensive tackle. There isn't one on the roster. The reason that their defense is so bad, Sebastian Joseph Day, who was that 2 gapping defensive tackle in LA, is not that this season. It does not travel well to be a 2 gapping defensive tackle in today's NFL. You're seeing right now the resurgence of the run game because teams have smaller bodies at defensive tackle. And when you run this 2 gapping defensive tackle ability, they have to be really, really big. You have to be able to hold up in 2 gaps. You also have to be quick. Those guys are not everywhere. They don't grow on trees. Like, this is not something that you can run in today's NFL yet. You
have to have feel. There. You have to have recognition. You have to have power in your lower body, and you have to have snap in your hands to play 2 tech. That's the way that it goes. And they're just, those guys don't grow.
Staley right now is in a bind because his defensive structure is solely based on being able to stop a run with light personnel. And they can't do it in today's NFL right now. So I'm going to pass on him being a DC, especially with this roster, because they don't have someone that can execute his defense up front.
Well, if they tried it would be the 2 guys that don't play very often, and Brandon Williams and Danny Shelton.
By the way,
there's a
Brandon Williams flashed already. He already flashed.
Absolutely. That bull rush was great. And here's the thing. I'll tell you this. If you guys want a little hint for draft season, wherever Brandon Staley is, take a look at Coburn from Texas, because I bet you Staley loves that dude. Absolutely loves him.
Absolutely.
Great question, Info, and thanks for that one. Why don't we help Mahomes by running the ball more when we get in a bad situation? They try. They're just a little bit too predictable with it in the way that they run. If they vary their types of runs, I think they're more successful.
They ran just a ton of zone in this game. And Denver was like, hey, okay, we'll make sure you don't get explosive plays out of that. And they didn't. For the most part, they didn't get explosive plays. And when you don't generate explosive plays, Andy's like, throw the ball.
Yeah. Britton, you nailed it. Just you must have typed that just before we said it.
Yeah,
so cheers.
Yeah, right.
And Holly, thanks for pointing this out. You guys are a great community, and we very much appreciate you. If you're not part of us yet, make sure you sub. And for everybody, if you'd hit the like, we would appreciate it very much. You know, y'all are still here an hour into this. Hour and 20. Good Lord, we talk a lot.
We do.
So, hey, Jacob, there's plenty of you to rip from this. Not going to be a problem. And guys, great question from Keys. He's back. And guys, are you going live tonight? You guys might be able to catch Back Talk Bros after this. I'm not sure if you guys said that or not. I didn't see it. A genie grants you one wish to improve this team. What do you wish on? Could be personnel scheme, breaking tendencies, fixing flaws. What's your wish, Dan?
It's the scheme. If I'm going to prove this defense is to schematically help your defensive line, and I think that you're not getting a lot of pressure to begin with. Yeah, the blitzes are great, but they're getting beat underneath. They're getting beat actually like in the middle of the defense consistently every single week. You got to find ways to supplement that, and unfortunately, Spags is not able to do that with the way that he schemes the defense. So I'm gonna use my wish for a new defensive coordinator.
That's fine. I can get behind that. For me, it's going to be attitude. I want an F it mentality from Andy Reid. I want him to go for the jugular every time. I want him to run the ball and make a point. I want him to be more physical because I think that protects Spags from himself and the defense from itself. I think overall that helps this team be what it can be.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to wrap up with this one, I think. Lil Caddy is the last super chat of the night. But cheers to On the Money for our newest member. If you guys want to be a member, it helps us out and you get all kinds of extra content and you get full access to our Discord over at Rogue Nation. You want to check that out. All you got to do is sign up in the memberships below Dan. And then when you go to Discord, you can connect your account and boom, you're in. Thanks to FLDB for setting that up because he's a lot smarter than me. That's just the way that it is. So we are going to go back to Little Caddy. Last question of the night and we'll wrap it up. Just look at the previous statement about Jones Sacks, 15 and a half and 18, which was Bob's last year. Come on, Colin, be the new guy. Okay, rock on. I'm glad. Thank you, Caddy, for proving us wrong. And thank you for bringing that up earlier in the show. We appreciate you. That said, I think that's exactly what it is. If they want to go back to the 3-4, that's what Colin's here for. Now, Colin can coach D-line either way, and we're seeing that. I think we've seen the influence of him through the entire season. But if they want to switch schemes, they have a guy who's been very, very successful in the 3-4 fronts in Colin. And I think that makes the transition easier.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget that the last year of Bob Sutton was the worst year of Bob Sutton. That defense was atrocious, historically bad. So as good as Chris Jones was, he's still probably better now. Let's just say he's probably better now. The defense is still a little bit better than it was under Bob Sutton, but I think we can all kind of hope for something a little bit stylistically more adept than what we're seeing right now, specifically underneath the problem.
Yeah, I can get that. Hey. Holly, thank you for pointing out FLDB. And yes, I think you had another comment. Nice twist on coaching changes there. I like that. All right. We're going to wrap it up there, folks. We'll have more for you tomorrow night and answer all of your questions on the Monday Night Q&A at 6 p.m. Central, so don't miss that. If you would like this one, that helps. We appreciate that. We're always looking to expand our universe, and the more likes, the more people see it tonight and tomorrow. And we have a great plan coming for you for more content. Seth's still on vacation, so you see something different from him. Should be an interesting view wherever he is. So I'm always looking forward to that. And we will roll on. This, in the end, was a win. They get to play again next week and go get another one. This is going to be interesting. Enjoy tonight, and let's root for the Dolphins and hope old Tyreek can go off for a little bit.
Hope. Just got to hope, man. Right now they're down, so we got to get going.
Oh, okay. I haven't been paying attention. I'm going to go turn it on. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.